Going on to the next topic, we talk about the other Super Bowl quarterback, Peyton Manning. Yeah, Peyton Manning. The 20-year veteran. The man who's arguably been regarded as the best regular season quarterback of all time. The question now is it time for him to hang it up? To call it a career, because he hasn't looked like the Peyton Manning of old that was, that threw 55 touchdowns, that led a team to being the best offense in the league, that's been to the Super Bowl 3 previous times. He doesn't look like that same Peyton Manning. So now the question a lot of people are asking, is it kind of the time? Because a lot of athletes have retired this season, with Kobe Bryant retiring in the NBA because it's obvious his play has fallen off. With Reggie Wayne, just Peyton Manning's former teammate, retiring. With Calvin Johnson reportedly retiring at the end of this season, and now coming to Peyton Manning. Now everybody's asking the question: will this be his last game? So, guys, do you guys believe this should be Peyton's last game? In the season, he threw 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, had a passer rating of 68.1, and it's not normal Peyton Manning. Oh, actually, excuse me, 67.9, but it's not normal Peyton Manning, stats that you see. So, do you guys believe this should be Peyton's last game? Rudy, we'll start off with you. How do you think this should be Peyton's swan song?
Well, it's not really gonna be a swan song. I think it's gonna be a horror movie cut. Like when the killer comes in with the knife, it's like da, 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 da. That's what the Super Bowl night is gonna be like for Peyton Manning. I think he should have stopped playing last year. Actually, I think he came back just to come back. Mm-hmm. He's not necessarily Brett Favreing it yet. He hasn't sent any naked pictures to anybody.
Come on, but man. Come on.
I think he should have been done. I think as a professional athlete, you play until you start playing sorry, and he has successfully started playing sorry. Whenever you can throw 17 interceptions and you didn't even play the whole season, that's pretty bad. Those are Eli numbers. So he needs to go ahead and sit down, get himself a nice spot in Titans upper management, and cool it for the rest of his life. Because he went to University of Tennessee. They want him there.
Finish your point, Rudy. Finish your point.
Yeah, I think this should be his last game. I just hope he makes it through the game. I hope Star Lotulelei and Luke Kuechly and them don't crush him, break his back or anything like that, because it's gonna get bad.
All right, Khaled, what do you think? Should this be his last game?
I think it should be his last game. When you started looking inefficient, like Rudy was trying to hint towards, but said it a different way. That's when you definitely should hang up just give up the game right there, and just. I think Peyton is just getting too old, and I don't see his game getting any better from here. Throwing 9 touchdowns and 17 interceptions, almost double your interceptions from your touchdowns. Mm-hmm. So I do think that he should look at that and see that he's not the same Peyton Manning, and that he needs to step out the way and let another quarterback basically handle the team. And just go ahead and do his Papa John's commercials and get his money from that.
Come on.
All right. The nation one.
All right, Rashad.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, true.
Let my man play one more year.
Oh.
Stop. Everybody has a bad season. Everybody has a bad season.
This is horrid, not bad.
My man's 38.
Let Rashad finish. Go ahead, Rashad. Let him finish.
Brett Favre can do it. What's his name can do it. And what's his name? Peyton Manning has a way better team than Brett Favre had with the Vikings and the Jets. Was the Jets, right?
Yeah, but is he a better quarterback?
The Vikings, the Jets.
He has a lot better. I think he has better IQ than Brett Favre.
Let him finish his point. Go ahead.
Yes, we saw him play bad, but he played with a lot of injuries. If you give him the whole offseason, let's say he gets healthy. Let's say he actually can get healthy. Let's say he do consider coming back. I think he can be an effective quarterback again for one more season. It's not to the point where it's bad watching Peyton Manning because it's not the same, but it's not like there's still over half the quarterbacks in the league are better than him. I still can't say that.
That's true.
So why not come back for another season when, especially, it's okay if you win, if they win the Super Bowl, then I don't see them coming back. But if they lose, I see this team can still make it again. We can pick up one more piece and we're good.
Okay. All right, Eric, what do you think?
I gotta say, yeah, his body and his performance are starting to decline real quick. There's no other way to put it. He's not the same Peyton Manning, and if you're putting in Brock Osweiler, then it's time to hang it up because Brock ain't that good. Peyton ain't that good. There's another quarterback.
All right, so the way I'm seeing it, I actually kind of agree with Shad because because think about it this way. Why should, because everybody has this made up mentality that, you know, that you, whenever you're going to the Super Bowl and your play falls off a little bit or something like that, that you should just automatically retire.
A little bit.
I mean,
17 interceptions isn't a little bit. That's a drastic.
Yeah,
he's had a bad.
Yeah,
there's been plenty of.
But hold on, but they're not Peyton. The other quarterbacks were Peyton Manning.
That is true. The other quarterbacks were not Peyton Manning, but you also have to look at it. He's not on the same team that he had to be the old Peyton Manning. The old Peyton Manning didn't have defenses like this. This team is the #1 defense. The old Peyton Manning didn't have a dynamic running game. This Peyton Manning does. You know that. Yeah, they run the ball a lot better when Peyton Manning's in the game.
With which dynamic was a very important word. In that none of those three running backs are dynamic, fast or strong.
Well, them coupled together makes them is what I'm saying dynamic. Them coupled together is why I say dynamic.
Oh, so it takes all three of them rubbed together to make one decent running back? Is what you're trying to say? Because that's what it is. I mean, they are horrible. They are awful.
Them individually. They each have their own strengths.
They're garbage.
Let me finish my point. Peyton's never had a team like this. So you're this is one of the benefits as a star player. Same luxury Kobe Bryant had, same luxury Peyton Manning had, same luxury Brett Favre had. When you're a great player, you get to choose when you get to go. Nobody's telling you when you have to go. So as a quarterback, as great as Peyton Manning, if you feel like, hey, I can come back, play for another, so or so millions of dollars, I can come back, possibly lead this team to the Super Bowl again, maybe. And we've seen how bad he played, and they still made it there. You know what I'm saying?
But there was a stretch of games that Osweiler was in.
Osweiler didn't play that much better. Osweiler did not play that much better.
No, don't get me wrong. I didn't say Osweiler played much better, but he still played games, and they won some games that he played. It wasn't all Peyton Manning wasn't on the bench willing them to win.
Under Peyton Manning, that team lost one game. Under Peyton Manning, they lost one game.
But they also had a horrible offensive efficiency, and the defense was carrying them.
And that's led them to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the defense led them to the Super Bowl. Yes, not Peyton Manning.
But I never said Peyton Manning led them to the Super Bowl.
Oh, no, I have more points.
Either way, yeah. But my point is, what's wrong with the defense carrying you? Peyton Manning just has to be good enough that the team won't lose because of him. He just has to be good enough so that they can at least suffice and hold a team like the Patriots to 18 points where they score 20 and make it to the Super Bowl. That's all he has to be good enough to do. So I don't see why he has to, be forced out by everybody because his play has fallen off. I mean, if you're good enough as a game manager, at this point, Peyton Manning seems to be a game manager. If you're good enough at that and you're not turning the ball over precipitous amount of times, since he's been healthy, keyword, since he's been healthy, throughout the regular season, he had that plantar fasciitis, he had the injured ribs, he had the hurt back, he had all these issues. He got healthy in the postseason. You see now he hasn't thrown one interception. So, yeah. No, he hasn't thrown an interception.
He threw that dumb fumble.
He
still threw. It was still him. You can't say he didn't do it.
It was a fumble.
But he threw it.
Come on,
you threw a fumble.
Right, go on with your point. Go on.
All right. I'm gonna pass this to Khalid in a second, but my point is, he's playing garbage this season. Yes, I understand it's one season, but you got to look at everything. He had the neck surgery, and since the neck surgery, people say something isn't the same. He has one leg going into the Super Bowl. People are saying it's not the same. He's practicing way more than he's ever had to practice just to play decent. If you understand what I'm saying, this guy's going to work on, SportsCenter trying to catch him in the facility. He's running practice with ball boys and stuff like that, trying to get his routes and stuff right just to play decent. You feel what I'm saying? To play okay. When you're saying, oh, yeah, he hasn't been turning the ball over that much. Yeah, he hasn't turned the ball over that much, but he also didn't look that impressive. I mean, he didn't do much in that game. He did enough to win, like you said. That's okay. But for Peyton Manning and that standard, that's not all right. And then when you look at Gary Kubiak, the offense that he has designed for that team does not fit Peyton Manning. So you're asking him to come back to a team, they're in the Super Bowl, but it still doesn't fit him. They have him doing a whole bunch of play action boot rollouts and stuff like that. Peyton Manning doesn't roll out for anyone. That's a horrible decision. You're just going to get him killed. So you're asking a guy that's already ailing in two major spots. Your neck and your leg are pretty big things to be hurting. To come back to an offense that doesn't necessarily fit him, and we don't know what that team's going to look like coming into next year. Von Miller's a free agent. Some of those other players might get traded. We don't know what Elway's going to do up there. So we're asking this guy to come back for another season to a team that he necessarily doesn't really fit in the offense. they don't run the offense that great when he's in. They had a really low efficiency rating, and they weren't scoring that many points. We're actually struggling to score points where you're relying on the defense. I just don't know as a player if that is the ideal situation to come back to. And I don't think there is an ideal situation for him in the NFL right now. I mean, like you said, it's okay playing decent and riding on the defense, but that's just not Peyton Manning. If you understand
but
what I'm
we
saying.
don't need him to be. That was my point earlier in the discussion. He doesn't need to be Peyton Manning. He even said at this point, he doesn't need to be the reason they win. He's not going to be the reason why they win. It's going to be the defense.
That's the thing, though. They're going to need him to be Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl. You cannot be Peyton Manning until you get to the Super Bowl and you play the other best team in the league. And then we're going to need Peyton Manning to show up because you guys are ranked number 1 in defense. That Carolina defense isn't a problem. Is a problem. They have a very prolific offense. So when your defense holds them to 12 points and you can't score 12, I'm sorry. We needed Peyton Manning. We didn't need you to be decent enough. We didn't need you to just not turn the ball over. We needed you to get the ball in the end zone. We needed you to move the ball down the field to get us in field goal range, and that's where the problem comes. You can be decent all year with a great defense and get to the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl, but when you don't produce because you're not playing like your old self, it becomes a problem. Anyone can ride on a great defense against the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer did it. Mark Sanchez did it.
But see, here's the deal. The old Peyton Manning teams never had like Brendan was saying earlier, a running like combination like this. This team is running the best Peyton Manning has ever had.
Are y'all really resting on this running game?
I mean, are you gonna tell me Joseph Adai was better?
Wait, was he the one with the dreads, or was that Oh yeah, no. The one of them had Edgerrin James. No, when he had Edgerrin James was doing work. Edgerrin James was a problem.
Notice they went to the Super Bowl
when they had Edgerrin James. Yeah, and they won because Peyton Manning was playing like old.
But they
Peyton
had
Manning.
a running game.
Okay, so are you trying to argue that Denver has a running game because they don't?
No, I'm saying, but their run game has been better than what Peyton Manning has had in the past. No, Sean Marino wasn't doing that great as a running back for him when they went to the Super Bowl and got whooped by the Seattle Seahawks. That was the old Peyton Manning, and they got whooped.
Their whole team got whooped though. That wasn't just
their
Peyton
whole team
Manning.
got whooped, but
from the beginning, their center snapped the ball into the end zone because he was scared.
It happened, yeah. And I'm saying you had the old Peyton Manning, and you saw what happened. You had the old Peyton Manning against the Saints, and you saw what happened. Now you have a Peyton Manning who was resting. The last time Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl, guess what? His defense was ranked number 1 when they won against the Bears. Yeah, against the Bears,
against Rex Grossman.
But their defense was still number 1, and that shows that when you have that defense, when you rest on the defense, that's what produces championships. To see, look at the past few Super Bowl winners. All their defense is ranked in the top 10. The Seattle Seahawks, the New England Patriots, the Baltimore Ravens, all those defenses were great defenses. So you rest your morals on your defense. If Payne can come back for you, I'm not saying that we have yet to see the Super Bowl game, so we can't say if it's going to be old Peyton or the new Peyton, whatever. But my point is, if he gets the same defense, the same number 1 defense, he can play another year with this team. Now, if the Broncos don't want to bring him back and he has to go elsewhere, I don't think he should play again. But if he can come back with this team already familiar, and you were talking about his practices and everything. Yes, he has to practice extra because he's rehabbing at the same time throughout the season. He's had a rehab throughout the season, whereas most times in the previous season, he either rehabbed in the off season because of his neck, but now he's forced to rehab in the regular season because of his foot, his ribs, and his arm. So he's forced to have to practice with the ball boys. They had Brock Osweiler in there because they saved Peyton Manning for the playoffs. There's a reason why they benched Brock eventually and put Peyton in because Brock wasn't producing. And the team responded better with Peyton Manning in. They run the ball better when Peyton Manning's in. They're more accustomed to other teams' defensive sets when Peyton Manning is in.
I understand what you're saying. This just running the ball thing is really tripping me out.
They do run the ball better when Peyton Manning's in.
The running the ball thing is really tripping me out when you have 3 running backs that average like 6 yards in an entire game, and we call that a running game now. They win games. They win games because Peyton Manning hits people that are wide open in the seam every once in a while, not because of that running game. The running game.
I'm not
saying
I just said
I get what you're saying. Yeah. When he has a running game and a defense, he's gonna play better. But to your point earlier, when the Colts won the Super Bowl and they had the number 1 defense, you're still talking about the Colts of the number 1 defense and the old Peyton Manning. Yeah. What I'm saying is this Peyton Manning, this version of Peyton Manning, I don't think he's gonna be able to hold up. I mean, if he wins the Super Bowl and does his thing, hey, more power to him. But I'm pandering more to your thought of them trying to force him out. I'm in the belief that they are trying to slowly push him out
I believe to get
Brock Osweiler start, and that's why I'm saying he doesn't need to come back because all he's gonna do is create a situation where he's a little bit of a burden, but because he's a legend, they're not really gonna say anything about it. And Kubiak and them really want Osweiler to start, but they're gonna let Peyton start. But the moment he messes up, they're gonna let Osweiler slide in. Then when Osweiler slides messes up or gets hurt, they'll have the luxury of putting Peyton back in. And that's just not the type of career you want to go to. You're already ailing with all these injuries that you just listed. Neck, leg, ribs, arm. Getting older and slower as it goes, and they want you to roll out. Just think about this. They want you to roll out into the face of Khalil Mack.
And that's the thing I understand. I understand that. That's why I'm just saying, can he play another year? Yes, he can. Should he? That's a big question.
The question was,
I think if, but to Rashad's point, Rashad said if they lose and they keep the team reconstructed as they are, Peyton Manning should come back if he wants to, but it shouldn't be up to anybody to tell him you should go. Just like if it's up to anybody, I mean, if Kobe Bryant wanted to play another season, if he felt like his body was good enough to play another season, Kobe could have played. But the only problem is the team isn't good enough. Peyton's team is good enough. Peyton's team can contend for a Super Bowl. Kobe's can't. Kobe would just be wasting his body away, whereas Peyton, you're actually playing for something.
Another point to this though, things change year by year. So like we're saying, that they keep the same team reconstructed and he comes back next year for his valiant last stand, they can play like butt. It's happened. We have seen teams that have kept the exact same team from a year before and played tremendously worse. The Texans do it all the time. Now it's not the same situation. They don't have a quarterback at all, but they've kept the same team and added better players to that roster, and then come back a season after that and played god awful. So we can't just rest on the fact that he has a great defense and be like, he has a great defense. If he comes back and plays decent, they'll come back.
Isn't it so funny? We're talking about Peyton Manning, and I just got an alert talking about the Rams have talked about bringing Peyton Manning to LA if he plays next season.
Exactly. But why would they do that to themselves?
Because we have Nick Foles as a quarterback. But anyway, stop. Anyway, we got to go on to the next one because the time is short, so we have to go on to the next topic. But
the great case.
Stop. I watched. You know what? I'm not going to pay
Sean Hill to go.
But anyway,